What's going on, guys, and welcome back to your Altcoin Daily News. In today's video, we want to do a deep dive into where Bitcoin is heading, a little bit of the technical analysis side. I want to look into Litecoin and what price you guys should get in at. Also, I want to talk about Western Union and Ripple's collaboration and the big announcement. Also, I want to bring a little bit of awareness to Bitcoin hacks, scams, and what you should be looking out to keep your money safe. So let's get into today's video. Okay, so let's do our deep dive into Bitcoin, and the first thing I can see is that Bitcoin finally hit $10,000. After a huge decline that we've been in this last 2 weeks, we finally have hit a huge resistance point, $10,000, 5-digit Bitcoin price. And I can't be more happier, because if we do end up closing today above 10,000, around mid 10,000, I see a good trend coming up. Before I get into anything, I just want to show you the indicators. The indicators that I'm looking at is the MACD. The RSI is looking good and it's trending really upwards. Also, the moving averages, my 55, 21, 13, and 8. We're seeing a divergence that's growing and growing and growing. Yesterday, when we were looking at it, we saw that the divergence between the 55 and the 21 wasn't there because the green was underneath, but we finally have the according color coordination coming through. We have the red, yellow, green, and blue, and that tends to show us that we are going on a nice incline. So for example, let me just break this down. If you were to get in around this price point when the red crossed over, let's just say you got in around 8,400 or 8,300 right here, and you held on until this crossover happens again, where the red crosses over with all three of these lines. No matter what happens, you're still seeing a profit because the 55 moving average is underneath all of these. Also on top, I want to point out the fact that we're looking at a huge volume spike over the last 2 days. This being February 14th and this being February 15th. We're seeing huge volume spikes compared to before. And this is massive. It's good that money is starting to flow back into Bitcoin. And so just looking at a couple of resistance points that we alluded to yesterday. Look right here, the first one that we broke through, the first one being 9,400, 500, that we've been testing before. We just couldn't break through. We broke through it yesterday, and we started doing an uptrend that I believe it was looked at yesterday, and that uptrend, that resistance point that I pointed out yesterday on that uptrend was around 10,100. And we are slowly surpassing that. If you look at the wicks went above that. However, we're still not fully past that resistance point that I've talked about before. Let me switch this line. Let me switch this line to a dotted line so you guys can see this in this aspect. Perfect. So this is a resistance line that I want to talk about. Let me draw the point that I believe if we do hit and we go above, we are officially getting into the bullish side of Bitcoin and bullish side of the cryptocurrency market. And that price point is right around here, but we tested it once here and tested it twice here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line from here, extend it. Oh, I need to switch that back. Extend it all the way across. That seems pretty straight. There we go. Let me switch this back to the straight line, no dotted. And then what I'm going to do is add one more line at the wicks right here, but we've already seen it hit. And I believe if we continue on the uptrend and we break through this resistance point of 12,700, that is my indication that we are going to start going on that bull run, and we're going to start seeing a lot of money start flowing back in. Because Lunar New Year is ending soon too, and because I can see that once we break certain resistance point that we had trouble with before, we can definitely hit highs again, and we can see that run up that we haven't seen in a while, because it's just been on a decline since January. Just look at this. Since, not even January, since December 17th, we've just been on a decline. and I like that we're starting to trend upwards. If we do not close above the 10,000, then we gotta go back and look at what we were saying here, where that 9,500 comes into play. If we close above 10,000, closer to 11,000, then we are sort of in the safe zone. Versus if we start closing towards the 9,400, then I feel like we have the tendency to push downwards this way. But looking at all the signs right now, looking at the MACD, looking at the RSI and how it's really strong right now, and looking at all the other indicators, I personally believe that we are going on an uptrend and that we can see Bitcoin hit 12,000 over the weekend. Over the weekend, I believe that we can hit 12,000. With the amount of volume spikes we see right here, it's very, very viable. And going into that, let me just show you one last part. This is the ascending triangle right here. And I personally believe within the next couple of days to over the weekend, we're going to hit this point and break through it. So let me just get into Litecoin quickly for you guys, because I know we've seen a huge trend on it and it's on a pullback right now. And let's look at a little bit into what I see with the candles. So right now with the candles, I see a lot of indecisiveness. I see that the bears and bulls are being indecisive at this point, where the wicks are going down and up. However, the push is not there. Here we saw a huge bear pullback and the wicks were going down. However, the bears still kept it down. Here there's indecisiveness, and yet we have yet to see where this is going to end up. And because I don't see the huge volume spikes that we were seeing over the last couple of days, I see that Bitcoin, I see that Litecoin is starting to go down on a trend, and I believe that Litecoin is going to end up at a price point of, if we bring up this is what I was looking for, if we bring up the Fibonacci retracement tool, we can see that Litecoin is going to tend to end up at, let me just bring it up so I can bring it to the peak. I can see, where's the peak? Right around here. Yeah, right around there. Okay. So, looking at that, let me pull in. We all know the golden rule. We all know the golden rule of 618 for Fibonacci retracement. Given that, I believe that Litecoin has a dip that's going to hit around $210. So if you guys see it hit $210, I, in my personal opinion, will buy into it at that point, because I do see a little bit of a run right after that. I do see that Litecoin will continue to go up, barring that Bitcoin does not drop a lot. And like I said, if it goes below that 9,500 price point, then we're going into a little bit of a more correction. But if we start seeing it continue the pace that it is at right now, we can see Litecoin continue in the same vein. Okay, so let's look into the collaboration between Western Union and Ripple. If Western Union was to go through and confirm the trials that they are having with Ripple right now, and they were to confirm that Ripple will be associated and incorporated into Western Union, that will be huge, huge, because as you guys may know, Western Union is a huge money transferring company that a lot of banks use, probably number one, and then comes MoneyGram. And it's funny enough that Ripple is in cooperation with MoneyGram to test their product out too. So for example, let's just say if you go to the bank and do a wire transfer or international money transfer, Western Union is the company behind the scenes doing the transfer from point A to point B. And so as you guys know, Ripple can take money from point A to point B within seconds, and the fees are insignificant. So if Western Union was to incorporate this blockchain technology, this product of Ripple's, XRapid, you can see XRP or you can see Ripple boom in price. So let's go into what XRapid is. XRapid is one of the products that Ripple uses, and it's behind the XRP token. So let's just say you want to transfer $100 worth from point A to point B, and you want to transfer that to someone you know overseas. So what would happen is you take that $100 and convert it into Ripple. So you'll be buying Ripple. Once that Ripple is bought, you transfer that Ripple over to where it needs to be, and you transfer Ripple back into the currency that you want. Let's just say euros, or let's just say Korean won. You transfer that $100 you put in USD, and you transfer it into Ripple back into Korean won or euros. And that happens within seconds because Ripple is so fast at being able to transfer money over. And if this was to actually happen, this would be amazing, because not only would it be amazing for Ripple, it would be amazing for cryptocurrency in general. At the end of the day, we're so young, we're so early into this cryptocurrency blockchain technology that if we see working products actually get incorporated into the real world, it will make a lot of people turn heads, understand that blockchain is here to stay. Blockchain is going to be incorporated into a lot of real world applications with the right products. And if you look at the top 10, there's only a couple that actually have working products. Bitcoin is a store of value, an asset. Ethereum uses smart contracts. Ripple uses banking systems and is tailored towards banking systems. Litecoin is the silver of Bitcoin, where it's faster payments and the fees are very low. So if we can get products like this to go onto the global scale and get incorporated, it's insane. You can just see cryptocurrency just shoot up after that. And so this ties into my next point I want to get into about Bitcoin scams and how you should be aware of what you're doing with your money. So let me get into that right now. Next thing I want to get into is an important subject that I want to bring to everyone's attention, and you guys should be aware of how to avoid scams, pump and dumps, hacks. And so I want you guys to be proactive and learn how to avoid everything, because like I said, at the end of the day, your hard-earned money, you should be able to make that hard-earned money into millions and become wealthy, because everyone deserves to be wealthy in this space. Because of a select few, because of hackers and scammers, I don't want everyone to have a negative image around cryptocurrency and people not investing into cryptocurrency because of that negative persona and people deteriorating us from actually growing. At the end of the day, there's always going to be people dragging this market down because they don't want to see you succeed and they want to prey on the weak, which I don't believe is the right way to go. And I believe karma will come back. Somehow, some way, karma will always come back. So let me help you get an understanding of how to be proactive against all these hacks and scams. So the first thing that I want to go into is that what the CFTC said about crypto pumps and dumps. Pumps and dumps being where you see a cryptocurrency where it's going 3,000% from what it was before, and you're like, whoa, I'm missing the trade. Let me get in on it and FOMO into the price that it is now, and then right after they just dump it. They just sell off all the cryptocurrencies that they had because they pumped it to a price that they want. They hit that price and then they just dumped it, and you're stuck at that all-time high and just hanging out to dry, which is not fair. So I want you guys to understand that pump and dumps, if you see a currency go from being 1 cent to $1 within a day to 2 days, that is not legit progress. That is not growth that you want to see on a coin. You want to see progressive growth, where it has ups and downs to get to that $1, not in 1 day. That's way too quick. So let me just read this quote for you guys. Some pump and dumps use false news reports, typically after a famous high-tech business leader or investors who plans to pour millions of dollars into a small, lesser-known virtual currency or coin. Other fake news stories have featured major retailers, banks, or credit card companies announcing plans to partner with one virtual currency or another. Links to the phony stories are also accompanied by posts that cause a false urgency and tell readers to buy now. And that is what FOMO is. I do not want anyone in this space, anyone that is subscribed to this channel, to be FOMOing into something and losing your money. So always make sure, if you see something go up or shoot up within one day, please don't get into it. If it's progressive growth and you see that there's announcements and you see it going up progressively, then it makes sense. And if you see a coin come into a top 100 out of nowhere, please don't do that. So that also goes into what happened in Ukraine. In Ukraine, one of the phishing scams basically was able to take $50 million worth of Bitcoin. So Cisco and Ukrainian cyber police were able to uncover a Ukrainian-based phishing scheme, and the name of that phishing scheme was called Coin Hoarder, and it targeted the blockchain.info website and the wallet service through Google Ads. And so essentially they're able to get information and prey on the weak. So what they found out is that the phishing targeted geographic areas where local currencies were unstable, and English was not the first language of the region, like Nigeria and Ghana. For victims were more likely to miss the slight differences in the domain and SSL names. And so I personally look at these scams, and at first instinct, I look at it, I'm like, whoa, this seems very similar, but you always gotta look very vigilantly and look at the exact names, exact info, and make sure that it is verified, it is a proper account. Just be aware, please. And the last part is that another hack has happened where about 12,000 Bitcoin was scammed out of victims, around 115 million. Where this happened in Austria. And so let me just read what happened. So in an Austrian investment scheme dubbed Optiment, where its operators have reportedly stolen some 12,000 Bitcoin from over 10,000 victims invested in the scheme. The scheme ran a website now offline, claiming to be a premier global Bitcoin investing product. Stemming from a private Costa Rica-based Bitcoin fund, the scheme also claimed to have its investment platform backed by assets over 35,000 Bitcoin. And this just shows that people are just coming into the space to scam a lot of people out of money. And just make sure when you invest in ICO, there's very little regulations around ICO. Compare an IPO, initial public offering. An ICO, initial coin offering, is very, very lenient. And anyone can start an ICO, to be honest, and get crowdfunding. So be careful, just like this. If you want to go ahead and read this post, it's by ma_TEE_AS. He just wanted you guys to be well aware of the seal scam, and I believe it's a scam too. So do not fall for these big Chinese products that are coming out with huge investment opportunities, saying how they're going to boom a lot. Just make sure you do your work and you look into what's actually happening and do your research. So before we end off the video, let me just go over the cryptocurrency calendar, what's actually happening around the cryptocurrency space. So this being February 15th, we see H shares. It's saying H shares main chain will be launched in mid-February. Oh, that's pretty interesting. So I believe they're making modifications and improving the main chain or the blockchain for H shares or H cash. Also, Ripple is being added, like I alluded to yesterday. Ripple is being added to Coinfield. Roulette token. Oh, this seems pretty interesting. Roulette token. On February, representatives of the platform dev team will have the meeting with the top manager of SMG Holding. Oh, that's interesting. So anyone that is at smartplay.tech. So anyone that is involved in Roulette token right now, I see that they have a huge partnership coming up today. NEM has a NEM conference. That's very interesting. Also Wax. That's nice. Oh, no way. So Wax is having a conference in Silicon Valley. Okay, that's actually quite intriguing because Silicon Valley is a huge mecca for investment opportunities, and if Wax is able to get some real investors there, you can see Wax boom. Publica to be at the writers conference, that's good for them. Let me see what else is happening. The next Pivex, BitDegree. See a lot of coins that I like. Ethereum. Oh, the Ethereum Denver Hackathon. That's a huge deal right there. If you guys want to look at it, go to coloradoblockchain.com. Dogecoin, no way, Dogecoin having a developer Q&A. That's funny, because Dogecoin is always thought to be the meme of the cryptocurrency space, but if they got something up their sleeves, they got something up their sleeves. Oh, Tron. Okay, so it's finally complete, the Tron integration into the app that they have been integrating for a while now. So it's finally complete. That should bring up the price too. Stellar on the way. There's a video interview. So that seems about everything. Request Network is a really good project, and so is Bread. And there was one more that caught my eye over here. Safe Exchange is also a very, very good product and token that you should really look into, because it safeguards, like what I was talking before, it safeguards your coin and makes sure that it's not gonna be viable to getting hacked. So with that being said, that seems like everything for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something today, and I wish you guys have a very good day. I want to thank you guys for actually taking the time of your day, sitting down and listening to me. And if you guys have any feedback, suggestions, any coins you want me to review, any ICOs you guys want me to review, anything you guys want to ask me, please go ahead and comment down below. But like always, subscribe, like, hit that post notification, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.